quorum. I'm calling this meeting of the Cannabis Control Commission to order at 10:30 a.m. on May 22nd, 2018. Can I ask, can everybody in the back hear me? Yes. Great, thank you. Commissioner Flanagan is joining by the phone. Commissioner Flanagan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
And can everybody hear Commissioner Flanagan?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Can I ask, is anybody recording this meeting? Great, so let me put everybody on notice that this meeting is being recorded. Can I ask everybody please to put their cell phones on mute or shut them off? As a matter of fact, I can probably do so myself. Sorry about that. Since Commissioner Flanagan is joining us remotely, all votes will be done verbally, individually. Somebody asked me earlier if this was going to be a long or a short meeting, and I disappointed them by saying it's probably going to be a short meeting. I think most of you probably will not be disappointed by that fact, but anyway, we have a relatively short agenda today. I have a few comments to make on the party certification process, but I'll wait till we get to that part of the agenda. So let me just talk about what we're going to cover today. We have one set of meeting minutes to cover from last week's meeting. We have our normal executive director update, and I believe for the first time in a very long time, we neither have new employees nor new job postings. Is that correct, Mr. Executive Director?
We have one job posting, not a description, though.
Oh, okay.
I will.
You'll mention the posting, so
I will.
Good to know that we're still maintaining momentum in that area. We will give updates as we have in the past about priority certification, and where we are with respect to the application process and for those applications, and then give you an update on where we are with license applications, which, as you know, we're beginning processing. We have staff recommendations for both approvals and denials of those priority certifications, which we'll go through, and I think that will conclude the agenda. So hopefully a relatively quick meeting. Let's start with minutes from previous meetings. The only set of minutes we have is from last Thursday's meeting, May 17th, 2018. And I understand there's one modification, one change to the minutes, Mr. Executive Director.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. We just identified a typo in the spelling of our Director of Community Outreach's name, which we can correct.
Right. That being said, any comments or questions on the minutes from May 17th? Commissioner Flanagan?
No, I'm good.
Okay, then can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I think that Commissioner Doyle won by a nanosecond, so let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Teitel. Commissioner Flanagan, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Teitel?
Aye.
Commissioner Doyle?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the minutes from May 17th, 2018 were unanimously approved. Thanks again to the staff for getting us completely caught up, and let's move on. Mr. Executive Director, it's time for your reports. Starting, I guess you said there's one posting you wanted to mention.
That's correct. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to alert folks that at the last commission meeting, I sought approval of two positions, one being the Director of Investigations, the second being a licensing specialist. Both of those positions, in fact, the Director of Investigations has been posted this morning, and the licensing specialist should also be posted today with a closing date of June 5th.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to statistics for priority certification applications.
Sure. So this may be the last time this slide appears, which is the status of priority certification as of today. On an ongoing basis, we will update the number of user accounts that are in the system. There's 1,490 as of today. We did receive, or there's been in process, 813 total applications. And to date, 100%, all of them have been reviewed by staff. There are currently 44 files that are reopened, and those are files that may not have just come back into the commission for whatever reason. So we are prepared today, I think, to make recommendations on all remaining applications that are pending before the commission, and hopefully that would close out our review process for certification. So in the past, I've gone through some of the bar graph here. There are 110 economic empowerment priority applications still pending. There were 67 that have been withdrawn, 43 had been or are in a state of reopen, 84 have been approved to date and 2 denied. As it pertains to RMDs or medical marijuana operators, There were 82 that have been incomplete. There was one still pending, which again we'll take action on today, hopefully. 37 have been withdrawn. One is in a status of reopen. 82 have been approved and one denied to date. So happy to take any questions you might have on kind of that status general update.
I mean, I guess this one's to say, first of all, thanks again to the staff for the hard work on this. We closed the window for these in mid-April, so it's been about 5 weeks, I think, since the window was closed for these. And part of me was hoping that we'd get through this process more quickly, but I actually think that we've done it the right way, both in terms of giving each application the thorough review that it deserves and trying very hard to help people get through the process rather than just immediately denying. So there have been a number that have been reopened, and we've tried very hard to help people provide the appropriate necessary documentation, which I think is absolutely the right philosophy to have taken, but it has taken a long time for that reason, but it's the right trade-off in my opinion. So thank you, Mr. Executive Director and the staff for the work on this. Moving on to applications for licensing.
Sure, thank you. So there's been interaction or development on 763 total applications. Within that are 641 that are incomplete, which is folks are still compiling information and working their way through the application. 81 are pending. That 81 number represents at least one packet of information has been submitted to the Commission, and 41 have been withdrawn to date. Of those 81, there's the breakdown, which is included in the table below. These numbers do add up, which is one craft cooperative. We're adding correctly. 25 cultivators, 15 establishment agents, 8 micro businesses, 9 product manufacturers, 3 research, 19 retailers, and 1 transportation with an existing establishment license. So again, that 81 is at least representative of one packet being submitted to the Commission to date. So if we go ahead there, you see that what that breaks down to is there are actually 35 applications that have submitted all 4 packets. So from a submission standpoint, the entire application has been submitted to the Commission. That is when we would start to begin reviewing for completeness. Of those 35, we've reached out or engaged 20 applicants to begin the background check authorization process. That is likely to date. On our website today, as well as within the Mass CIP page, the background check authorization forms are posted. So any applicant that's working their way through the application will have access to those forms. At the earliest stages of applications, those forms were not posted. So we've reached out to anyone that would not have submitted it to ask them to complete that process. So those are 20 applications that we've engaged on. 2 entities have returned those forms back to us. In total, those entities represent a total of 5 licenses. We've begun the background check process on those 5 licenses or 2 entities. And again, I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Are there questions?
So I'm gonna.
Hold on for a second, Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner McBride.
So I'm going to presume that the applicants are priority certification applicants. Is that true, or are there some applicants that are from the general non-priority certification?
Sure. So the 35 breaks down in total of 4 packets. So again, we're still reviewing many of these for completeness, but it breaks down to I guess math again, which is 25 are actually existing RMDs, priority RMD applications. 5 are empowerment applications, and then 5 are general applicants. Where those break down as far as license types, I couldn't say today. That said, if the math breaks down to 25, 5, and 5.
Okay. Do you have another question, Commissioner McBride?
And have we started, or when are we planning to start the actual review, with the understanding that, as we said in the regulations, that we're taking one from each of our priority categories as we're going through?
Yeah. So the first initial reaction is to review for completeness and identify if anything is missing. And the good example would actually be the background check authorization forms. So we'll get those out kind of on a one-by-one basis to make sure that the application itself is complete for review. And then once everything is completed and substantive as far as the application is concerned, that would begin the alternating review process of exploring the RMD versus economic empowerment.
Commissioner Flanagan, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I heard. Any other questions about the license application process? Yeah, I don't know if Kyle is here, but I just wanted to thank you for your hard work in terms of getting us to the point where we're ready to start processing these applications. Greatly appreciated. Obviously, it's a team effort, but Kyle's driving that process, and I just wanted to recognize that. Okay, I think we're on party certification applications. So this is my work. So let me just make sure that everybody's comfortable with it. So the staff has given us 3 batches for review: a batch of economic empowerment that they recommend for approval, a batch of RMDs recommended for denial, and then third, a batch of economic empowerment recommended for denial. What I did is I went through and noted where there were conflicts, and for batch 1, which are economic empowerment recommended for approval, I took the batch as submitted by the staff and pulled out 4 that indicated they had a conflict with commissioner title. So we'll vote on batch 1, which is the entire batch that was sent by the commission, by the staff, with the exception of those 4 applications. We'll then vote separately on those 4 applications. And then the same thing for batch 3. There was 1 application that was indicated a conflict with commissioner title, and so we'll vote on the entire batch with the exception of that 1 application, and we'll vote on that 1 application separately. Go ahead.
Sorry, I have 1 more that needs to be moved from batch 3 to 3A.
Great, if you just give me the number.
It's EEA 202.
202?
394.
394. Okay, we'll do that when we get to that. Thank you. Are there any other conflicts that I've missed? That was what was in the indication. That was what was in the tables that I received. But no other conflicts that anybody's aware of? Great. Okay, Mr. Executive Director, if you could walk us through this, please.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So batch 1 is economic empowerment applicants that staff has reviewed and recommended for approval. It might be appropriate here to kind of give a general reminder or overview of our process, which is this has really been a staff-wide and an agency-wide effort to tackle the submission and evaluation of all of these applications. So I'm really proud to be at this moment today where we can wrap up review and really pivot or migrate over to licensing. This has been a really valuable exercise, I think, for everybody on the staff. We are, as a reminder, we are a brand new agency working through a brand new software and evaluating a brand new application process. So there's been a lot of learning that has gone on, a lot of really evaluation of our own process and our own software. So this has been a really valuable exercise. But applications were identified and kind of doled out to each individual staff member on the team. And again, this has been a staff-wide effort. We evaluated each application for its criteria. On RMD, for instance, we would share information with the Department of Public Health and reconcile if a provisional or final certificate had been issued. On the economic empowerment applications, there were criteria for each of the 6 to evaluate were the applications complete as far as ready for review, and then evaluating the actual substance that had been submitted. If information was either incomplete or wasn't quite there to satisfy each of the criteria, we were able to reopen applications and notify applicants to say we're looking for a bit more. And in that instance, we were able to engage with many applicants to help them get to a level of completeness that could be evaluated. So there are 39 total applications that are recommended for approval, absent the 4 that have been identified as conflicts. So on batch 1, staff would recommend approval for a total of 35 applications. These are, again, entirely economic empowerment applicants. I'm happy to take any questions you might have about the substance of these, but there are 35 that we're recommending for approval in batch 1.
Any questions for the staff? Commissioner Flanagan, any questions?
No.
Okay, then can I have a motion to approve the 35 that have been recommended by the staff for approval?
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Was that Commissioner McBride? Let the record show Commissioner McBride made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Title. Commissioner Flanagan, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title? These are the ones that you...
Abstain.
No, these are the
Nope.
ones you don't have to abstain on.
Aye, sorry.
Commissioner Doyle?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. So the staff recommendation for the 35 economic empowerment applications recommended for approval, excluding the 4 that are listed. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved those. Thank you very much. for the hard work. So the second batch now is those 4 that indicated a conflict with Commissioner Title. Is that correct?
That's correct. So these are folks that had self-identified a conflict with a commissioner or a staff member. In this instance, it is Commissioner Title. So there's 4 that the staff would similarly recommend for approval based on evaluation.
Are there any questions on these? Then can I have a motion to approve these 4 recommendations?
So moved.
Let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Flanagan, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Abstain.
Commissioner Doyle?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the Commission approved the staff recommendations on these 4 applications by a vote of 4 to nothing. Commissioners Flanagan, McBride, Doyle, and Hoffman voting in favor. Commissioner Title abstaining. Thank you.
The next batch, Mr. Chairman, is an RMD that is being recommended for denial. In this instance, this application was submitted after the deadline. In fact, it was submitted on April 27th. While a valid PCR may have been issued, given that it was past the deadline, the staff recommendation is to deny the application.
Are there any questions? Then can I have a motion to accept the staff recommendation to deny this application? It's 1 application, correct?
That's correct.
So moved.
Let the record show Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Flanagan, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Doyle?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show the recommendation of the staff to deny this application in batch 2 was approved by the Commission unanimously. Thank you very much. For batch 3, there are 2 exclusions now. The one that's listed here, EEA 202276 and also EEA 202394.
So with that, Mr. Chairman, there are a total, and this is again a remainder of applications pending before the Commission. In this batch, given the conflicts, there would be a total of 111 applications that would be recommended for denial. And again, these are for various reasons. In some instances, actually, in fact, in many instances, 3 criteria were not met. In some instances, the application itself was reopened, and the application was never resubmitted to the Commission. And so they're in various states, but by and large, the theme is that 3 criteria were not met. And again, speaking to the process here, when we as a staff reviewed these, we did reopen applications. In some cases, we did engage directly with applicants, especially when they reached out to us. And staff, by and large, worked independently on applications, and then when there were questions, or I did mention in the past, there were some applications that there were some decision points as far as would it meet the criteria, would it not. Typically, that was engaged in a staff discussion to come up to a recommendation. So the process here, I think, has been really collaborative. And again, there are 111 pending now, absent conflicts, that staff would therefore recommend.
So it's 113
total,
less 2.
Correct.
We're going to vote on separately. Thank
Correct.
you.
Yep.
Are there any questions? Then can I have a motion to vote on the staff recommendations to deny the 111 applications, excluding 20276, 202276, and 202394.
So moved.
Second.
Let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Flanagan, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride? Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Doyle?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the Commission unanimously accepted the staff recommendation to deny those 111 EEA application or economic empowerment applications. Then separately with 2 conflicts, EEA 202394, EEA 202276. Mr. Executive Director, your recommendation.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, these would be 2 economic empowerment applications that have self-identified a conflict, or one had self-identified and then Commissioner Title identified another. So there's 2 remaining economic empowerment applications that, based upon review, staff would recommend denial.
Are there any questions?
Just a quick correction.
Yeah.
I think I actually identified both.
Oh, thank you for that.
Any other comments or questions? Then can I have a motion to approve the staff recommendation to deny these 2 applications?
So moved.
Second.
Let the record show Commissioner McBride made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Doyle. Commissioner Flanagan, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Tittle.
Abstain.
Commissioner Doyle.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the Commission approved the recommendation of the staff to deny these two applications by a vote of 4-0, with the votes being Commissioner Flanagan, Commissioner McBride, Commissioner Doyle, and Commissioner Hoffman voting to accept the staff recommendation, and Commissioner Tittle abstaining. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, this does conclude our review of priority certification, and just for the edification of the Commission as well as some folks here, in total, the Commission has now voted on 320 applications. Of those 320, 205 were approved, and 115 denied. So that represents a 64% approval of applications. The breakdown is that 82 RMDs were approved and 2 were denied, and there were a total of 123 economic empowerment applications approved and 113 denied. So again, that breakdown is 52 to 48 percentage points. So I think that's really, again, 320 applications to be reviewed in just over a month's time by staff, I think is awfully impressive, and it really speaks to the staff we've built here, and I think their dedication to getting this process up and running and in this sense completed. And again, we've learned a lot about our own internal processes as well as our management of our software system, which has really enabled us to evaluate these on a pretty aggressive pace. So, and also I think it speaks to the Commission's commitment to, especially as it pertains to certification, to get folks through this process successfully and to allow them to begin to fill out their applications for licensure. And that process, as we come back to the Commission moving forward, I think will be more on a one-on-one or one-by-one basis,
Right.
And therefore perhaps a bit more substantive a review at the Commission level. But we, of course, as a staff, are very grateful for the Commission's support of the application process and also the support of the recommendations that have been made. So again, as we conclude this process, I'm very proud of the fact that the Commission was able to review so many applications in such an aggressive pace. So thank you.
Sure. And at the risk of repetitiveness, let me just acknowledge that I agree with Sean's assessment, and I just want to thank the staff individually and collectively for what I think is a great effort and strong collaboration and teamwork. So we're going to need a lot more of that going forward, but thank you very much. Any other comments?
Just that, as someone who worked on these applications for years, the speed at which it was evaluated is unheard of. So my compliments.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Executive Director?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, I have no additional agenda items that I was not aware of at the time the agenda was posted. Our next commission meeting is a week from today at 10:30 a.m. Please note that the location has not yet been finalized. We're hoping to get that done today or tomorrow. We'll obviously post it as quickly as possible. We're hoping that we can do it here, but we have not gotten confirmation yet, so that is still TBD. There being no further business in front of the Commission, I'm adjourning this meeting as of 10:55 a.m. on May 22nd, 2018. Thank you very much.